Hello everyone and welcome back to Dark Souls Easy Mode. You might remember from way earlier in the series that I have gotten the Gargoyle Tail Axe from cutting off the tail of the gargoyles, the first gargoyle in the boss fight on the roof. Now if you didn't manage to get that tail cut in the boss fight, there are two more gargoyles, one I've killed last time, one I'll kill this time. And each of those can also give you that weapon if you get the tail cuts. Also, this buttress is the only way to move forward. It's fairly well hidden. If you're playing online, there's usually messages here telling you to go this way. But yeah, hopping down where I hopped down, or I guess going around and climbing down the stairs also works, and then walking up this buttress is the only way to progress. And then go all the way up here and roll off, and you'll land safely outside this broken window. Ugh, this does not do good damage anymore. It's only upgraded to +5, so there is that, of course. Let's see, can we get a backstab? Ugh, not a one-hit kill either. That'll do. Okay, I'll probably stick to my Zweihänder. And I could equip the Black Knight sword or something, but this is fine. Oh, what did you drop? Just throwing knives, I guess. They can also drop their weapons. No, they can't drop their armor. Their armor is found differently. But yeah, they can drop their weapons as well. The Painting Guardian Scimitars or something. Now this is a section that I find quite annoying, because it basically involves running on these tiny little platforms, and the game is really not very well suited to that sort of thing. I'll show you how to best deal with these enemies as well. Basically what I do is I block. They throw a lot of throwing knives, but if you stand right at these corners here, they quite often suicide. I'll try to show you exactly what I mean in a moment. I didn't stand quite correctly there, apparently. And if you're here, hit this chain once, and it'll make the chandelier fall down. Apparently without making a noise. Oh well. So again, right here, I will stand and block the throwing knives. They do have a bit of a knockback, so don't just stand there and block. Occasionally adjust your footing so they don't knock you down. And this is what I mean. If you stand at the corner, very often they'll try to jump you and not manage, and they'll just die. It's a very easy way to deal with them. It's about where I'm standing is where you want to stand. As I said, it's somewhat random, but it does tend to work quite often. And they can throw a lot of knives before they start going into attack range. I've seen 15 or so. You might be able to get to more. And there you go. Suicide. Fighting on these tiny rafters is just really, really annoying. So that's why I would advise to use tricks like the ones I've shown you to basically bypass it. Now, there's actually that chest over there which contains a divine blessing, which you might like to have. I would advise, before trying to engage any more enemies, go through this fog gate, and without encountering any further enemies, pull this, or push it rather, this lever, which will basically allow you to not have to go through the rafters ever again. It's just a nice way to bypass that section. It also makes another gargoyle appear. There you go, tail cut. Ow. Okay. Come on. There we go. Nah. Ow. Oh well. Yeah, this guy spits lightning instead of fire, by the way. And I was being very careless there. And that's how easy you can die. And that's also the reason why I told you to get this shortcut activated by pulling that lever, or pushing it rather. I mean, you don't get into the gargoyle encounter before, but just in case you manage to die to something else, you would now have to go through the rafters again, whereas this way you don't. And incidentally, the gargoyles are unique enemies, they don't respawn. So, you only have to kill them once. But yeah, that lightning just caught me by surprise. They don't use that attack very often. As you could see, they can use it obviously, but it's not a common attack to use for them. Just wondering where my souls are, because I'm pretty sure the souls can't actually spawn on this platform here. The reason why is this platform is mobile. There we go. And we get the halberd and shield as well. These are special drops. They have nothing to do with a tail cut. They're just randomly dropped by the gargoyles on occasion. Now let's see. I would expect my souls to be, yep, up there. Let me just push this back. You can just basically make the staircase, elevator, whatever it's meant to be, go up again. So yeah, as you can see, this is a moving platform. The game will never put soul stains on moving platforms, so elevators or anything like that. And this is a pretty huge one, but still, the game will never put your blood stain on it. So it always puts it on the last safe location, or safe footing that you've been on. The last location that doesn't move. Which in this case was up there. So yeah. Now then, this is the time to cheese. This is a section which I always found really difficult and annoying, and so I'm going to show you how to cheese it. Very, very cheesily. Yeah, we'll get to the details in a moment. Now, these guys, if you didn't mess it up, you can just roll past. And then, if you run into this far corner here, they will both lose aggro. There you go. See? Now I'm switching to my longbow. And I will shoot this dude. The hitboxes are a bit weird. This should be a hit. And off he pops. Okay, the second one I'm going to grab and just kill, I guess, normally. Ow. Ow. There we go. That was very poor on my part, sorry. They are very easy to stun, but also a bit tedious, as you could see. Okay, let me just shoot this guy. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting, if you lock onto them, you hit the head, and for some reason hitting them in the head causes far less knockback than hitting them elsewhere. So manual aim, hit them not in the head. Okay. And this again is a nice way to cheese it. You shoot an arrow down there and it causes this ambush to essentially trigger. And then you want to hit them. Doesn't matter how much damage you do, it'll just make them angry and try to get to you. But they can't actually get to you because they can't run up this buttress. And usually one of them will just drop to his death. I think you're about to see that? Possibly? Come on. Yeah, see how far they are knocked back by these arrows? And there you go, I've poisoned him. Now the other dude, he tends to fall. Come on. Don't make me a liar. I know you usually fall down there. Apparently he doesn't want to. Not that it matters much, but as I said, he usually drops down when trying to get to you. But you can just poison them like this, using poison arrows, which is why I bought so many of them. And they will try to get to you, won't be able to, and will eventually die. I know this is very boring, but this section has caused a lot of new players, that I'm aware of at least, to completely rage on the game. Now, I am at this point no longer that scared of it. I can do this the normal way, but I still find it quite tedious, and it's very easy to die here in a way that somehow feels cheap. Like you didn't really have much of a choice on the matter. And I'm not a fan of that situation, or those situations. I think most of the deaths you get in this game, you feel like that was your fault. You somehow messed up, you didn't play well enough. So it's your fault that you died, you just didn't roll in time, you did something silly. This is one of the very few sections where I feel the game kind of cheeses you. It kind of kills you in a slightly cheap way. That is not to say that you can't beat this area without being cheesy. It's obviously possible. It's not even that difficult, but I feel it's very precise, and I don't think it so much rewards sneaky or good gameplay as, especially for new players, it just rewards being lucky. So I'm just going to show you this method of getting past it because it's incredibly consistent. Basically, you cannot fail with this method. And I know that a lot of people will call this a very cheap method, and it kind of is, but I find this also a cheap area, and it's a very cheap way to increase difficulty. And the reason why is that this game does not handle... By the way, I have no idea why I took damage there. It's weird. Something about that location, you sometimes just take random damage. But yeah, this place, it can easily kill you in ways that I feel aren't fun. So you stand right where I'm standing, and you're able to see in the distance there is a dude. Then I should be able to get him. Okay, I need to aim higher. Now I'm not able to damage him with this at this range. Slightly more to the right. Not sure if that was a hit. I'll aim slightly higher. This was definitely a hit. Now I'm not doing any damage. Even with the most range I could get on a bow, I would not be able to hit him at this range. I would just be doing 0 damage every time, which isn't even displayed. But the poison auxiliary effect of the arrows still happens. So as you can see, he's now poisoned. And there's another dude as well, right there, whom we can get in a very similar fashion. Let's see if this is a... No, we want to go slightly to the right. You should buy a few more arrows than you really need, just so you can get your aim straight. And this should be fine. And 2 hits with poison arrows will poison them. And in New Game, a single poison trigger like this will basically get them down to 0. They will die from this. And from this location here, you can get them both in complete safety. And they will die. They are not unique. They will respawn, by the way. And that just makes it doubly frustrating to get past this area. Now there is a bonfire right afterwards, so that's nice, but still. I'm not actually going to show you the difficulty of this section. I just don't think it would make... Well, I'll explain to you what happens. So, as you run up these very small buttresses here and around tight corners and all that, without any anything guarding you from falling to your death, basically, both of these guys will basically throw trees at you. Now, they use arrows, so it might be... Well, they use bows, so you might think they're shooting arrows at you, but it's more like spears or trees. They shoot incredibly large arrows, basically, and they have incredible knockback. So, if you don't block them, they will do a ton of damage. If you do block them, there's a lot of knockback on them. So, if you can imagine, you're standing on a very small platform next to instant death pits, and someone's shooting at you with a strong knockback arrow. It's not fun. And it feels incredibly cheap. So, basically, you have to roll through the arrows and then on a very, very small ledge actually kill one of these guys or somehow get past them. And getting past them, you can't just run past them. The platforms aren't wide enough to enable a running past them approach. So you can either cheese them somehow to jump to their death, or you can try to parry them or kill them another way. None of those, I feel, are particularly consistent. Now, if you practice it enough, like the speedrunners do, they are consistent at this. They don't do this the cheap way, obviously. But just for a casual playthrough, I think, unless you're very, very good at parrying these guys, which on your first playthrough you won't be, because you haven't encountered them before, so you don't know the timing on them, I would advise use the longbow, use the poison arrows, cheese the game when it cheeses you. There you go. And those 2 guys are dead. Now, so as you can see, running up here, both of those will be able to hit you. So from both sides, there's arrows flying at you with incredible knockback. They usually don't hit you if you keep moving here. Then you go around either side of this tower structure. Again, very slim platform. An arrow hits you, you're very likely to be knocked to your death. Then second buttress. This has even less protection than the one before. The one before had some... not really handrails, but something at least on the side which occasionally blocks arrows. This has nothing like that. About here is where you're safe from the second sniper who's standing over there. But the first one will still hit you, so you have to roll through the arrows. And then here he'll switch to his melee weapon and shield, and then if you do it right and you stand about here and you run into the wall, he'll usually try a running attack and fall to his death. But that's not 100% consistent. And then, yeah. The other guy's standing here-ish, by the way, so... Usually when you're fighting the first guy over there in melee, the second guy's blocked, so at least you don't have to worry about arrows to your back. And if you get past this guy, there's a very nice Soul of a Hero, and Souls of a Hero give 10,000 souls when consumed, so very, very nice item. Just requires you to get past 2 of these archers, and they are infamous for being really, really tedious. Oh, by the way, one thing that happened to me the first time I played through the game, I didn't know about the poison arrow trick. So I got past these guys barely. I was out of Estus and I had very little health left. So I thought, okay, finally defeated them. Jumped down here. took a tiny bit of fall damage and died. And that was that. I rage quit the game after that for half a year or so. It wasn't fun. So once you're past these, definitely open this door. And definitely sit at this bonfire. And then you can talk to Solaire. Doesn't have much to say, but you can do it. And then, do I want to level up? Probably get 2 level ups out of this. I'm okay for now, I think. So I'll show you the long way and the short way through this section next time. And I hope you found this video helpful. I know it's very, very cheap, the method I showed you, but as I said, I also found the encounter very, very cheap. So, hey, if the game's gonna be cheap, you're allowed to be cheap as well. Okay, yeah, I guess I'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.